Hello! I just got a message that I am live with Be Live. Holla! But unfortunately, it does look like my YouTube stream isn't live, so this will be interesting. I'll have to download and put it up on YouTube. But that's fine because it's still cool. I'm here, I'm showing up, and I am really excited about what I'm about to share with you today. So, you may know me as the Prosperous Heart, where I am teaching digital marketing tactics for anyone really, because I believe that no matter who you are, whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee, you need to know how to leverage digital marketing. And I'll get into that another day. This video is not about digital marketing. It is in fact about programming. So let me, before I get too far ahead of myself, and make sure you can hear me, because I'm on multiple. Oh, I don't hear me. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right, hold on. Hold on. There we go. I do hear myself. All right, great. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So I'm here today to talk to you about programming. Now, maybe you think that programming is not for you. Maybe you feel like it's too technical, or you don't have a degree, or you're too old or too young, or whatever lie that you're telling yourself about programming. I'm here to tell you that as long as you keep going and keep improving yourself and trying to actually implement it, it will become easier for you and, in my opinion, really fun. So, why am I even doing this now? Why am I going back from digital marketing to programming? Well, if you didn't know, I actually got my degree in programming. I have been a programmer for a long time at this point. And I've always really enjoyed teaching people. And long story short, I decided not to go into teaching for many reasons. But with what's happened with 2020 and with what's happened in my personal life in the first half of 2021, it really felt like things were just kind of realigning to go, hey, people need this skill set. You should teach it. And so here I am. So this video is not going to be specifically the technical pieces. I am doing a workshop on that soon. So if you want to know, just go to learntocodeonline.com and send me a message, and I'll make sure you get that information. What I am here today doing today is I've decided to program live with you. It's a little weird because normally I'm in the background and doing my own thing and making mistakes behind the scenes and just making the code great. But if you only see the finished product, you don't see necessarily the frustrations behind things or how things change, just like in everything, digital marketing, right? Anything that's technical. And so I am starting a new series. This is video 1 of said series, where I'm taking a project from start to finish and walking you through my process. Now, why is that important? So in 2018, I was just honored to be invited. I was working at Cisco at the time, Cisco Systems, and I was honored when I was invited to the 2018 Cisco Live and LATAM. So I did a talk on how to think like a programmer. Now, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, with programming, it like there are so many different ways to do like just one thing that there's not really a right or wrong way to code. There are best practices, there are things that you learn along the way, but there are some really key things that every programmer should know and understand, and it's what I call put into a talk called Think Like a Programmer. Now, if you are on my LinkedIn, I have on my profile a pinned post from all of that I did for that particular session. It was there's a video of the whole thing that I did, slides that you can get from there, including the code. So if you go here and you click on to access the code referred to presentation, it's going to bring you here. So what you see here is one of the different repositories, code repositories, basically like a holder for the things that I do. Now, most of my code that's not proprietary or part of a company is here. So this is all the public things that I've done, the trainings that I've taken, and I've reformatted them into my own words with Jupyter Notebook. This is a step-by-step process, right? All of that is in my GitHub where I can, right? And so this is kind of the process that I go, not kind of, it is the process I go through every single time that I do a program. So what exactly does that process look like? You can go through that, but I'm just going to walk you through really quickly. So first of all, the first step is to gather requirements. No matter what type of project you're working on, you must gather requirements. This includes like the things you'd like to get done, the things that you have to get done, the things that are nice to have, right? All of those things are, again, in that training, so you can check it out, but you have to gather requirements. If you do not do this, this is one of the places where if you don't do this a thorough enough job of this, you might not meet your deadlines in time. You might have a huge misunderstanding between yourself and leadership where they are thinking one thing, and even if you've been communicating what you've been doing, maybe you've missed some major connection, right? So gathering requirements is pivotal. If you just do it yourself and you think, oh, well, you're going to need X, Y, and Z and yada, yada, cool. You may create something amazing, and maybe you will, right? But is it really something that's going to benefit the end user? Is it really something that's going to get to accomplish the goals that you're looking to create for this program? So gathering requirements is top, like this big thing that you must do. The second thing that I basically tell people is create your base function planning. So what do I mean by that? Once you create your requirements, right, you kind of have to figure out what does that look like? How am I going to create this? So let's say, for example, in this particular one where I actually did a training on how to think like a programmer, what I did here is actually a step-by-step progression of a rock, paper, scissors game, right? And you'll see as it goes through that there's lots of different things that you can do with this, right? You can actually save and print out historical games. You can add new possible winners. Like instead of doing rock, paper, scissors, you might do rock, paper, scissors, Spock, something else, right? So when you know what it is that you have to do, creating those base functions for your program, or rather planning out what they look like, are going to be essential because so many programmers, they don't plan. They just write the code. They're like, okay, I need to do this thing. I'm just going to write the code. And then the problem with that is that maybe, very rarely, but maybe on like the first go around, depending upon how intricate the program is, maybe it does what you want. But is it Pythonic? And what I mean by Pythonic is, does it actually follow the suggested way of coding for being Pythonic? Does it make it clear, concise, easy to follow, easy to reuse, right? All these different things. Does that allow you to do it if you have it in one big heaping chunk of code? Usually not. It's usually ugly. And it also can introduce bugs into your code, which means longer times for resolution, longer and more frustrated moments for you to try and fix things, right? So it's really important not just to plan your requirements, but also to plan your functions. So in the case of this rock, paper, scissors game, functions could be getting the computers choice, right? Asking for a person's choice that's actually at the CLI, or the command line interpreter. Maybe it is, or not maybe, comparing the two, right? Which one won? Then perhaps printing out the winnings, right? All of these things are part of your base function planning. This is not actual coding. This is planning what it looks like, what's going to go in, what it's supposed to do, what goes out, any other thing that might help you to make things easier and allow for other people to actually complete this task with you, right? So the more that you make it so that you have multiple functions instead of one big long piece of code, other people can be working on the functions that you are not currently working on, right? So base function planning. The third piece of this 4-part system is the bare bones. What do I mean by bare bones? So again, from my experience looking at other people's code, most people do not code, for lack of a better term, properly for anyone behind them to know what it did, to know what it's supposed to do, to all kinds of things, right? There's no comments, there's no doc string, there's no way for people to be able to figure it out unless they go line by line, right? Which is okay, because then you actually know the programming closer to your heart. But why? why make it harder for someone behind you? Or why even make it harder for you, right? Maybe you wrote code a year ago and then you come back to it and you're like, I don't even know what this is anymore, right? So bare bones. What is bare bones? Bare bones. Hey, John, no structure programming. I'm curious what you mean by that. Let's have a chat. So bare bones. When I say bare bones, the first thing I talked to you about was gather requirements, and the second was base function planning. So the bare bones, what I mean by that is you're actually putting in the code now. You're going, all right, I have this function, and I'm putting in the input variables, and I am writing the documentation string, like what it is, all that stuff that we just talked about, and I am returning something. But you're not actually writing the logic right now. All you're doing is you're creating the container with which that your program will interact with each other. You're writing the logic, right? And you can do all kinds of testing with this. I'll probably touch on a few of this at some point in this series. But this allows you to structure your code so that way it makes it easier. Other people can work with it with you. And again, when you come back 3 years later or whatever, you actually know what those functions are, what's expected in there, and so many other benefits. So that's what I mean by bare bones. The fourth and final piece of thinking like a programmer is tying your code to the logic. So we just theoretically created those bare bones structures, those bare bone functions, and tying the code to logic is actually writing the code, right? So you know that this function does X, Y, Z, it does this type of calculation, and it should return whatever. So you know already, because you planned it, what that looks like, what goes in, what it should do, all of that. And so now you put that in there, obviously do your testing on the way to make sure it works as expected. And there's also ways with which you should be writing code to check all of that same information. Okay, so that being said, I wanted to kind of start this off with a little bit of an intro into GitHub. So I am going to, again, if you're on GitHub, my handle is Prosperous Heart. Prosperous Heart is actually my handle on every single social media platform. I haven't decided if I'm going to have a different handle for programming because it's kind of, I'll get into that later. But basically, Prosperous Heart on GitHub, you'll find me, you'll find my code, you'll find all the things that I put on here publicly. Okay, so in GitHub, it actually looks a little bit different now. I'll show you that in a second, but this is a document that kind of walks you through hello world with GitHub. So I had a friend ask me yesterday, I've heard that before. What is hello world? Why is this such a big deal in the programming industry? The reason for this is because hello world is like the simplest program you can make for any language. And basically all it is if you're able to print out hello world with any language, then you are confirming that it works. You're confirming that you're able to utilize it and that there's no other issues like interpreter problems or integration on your computer. So Hello World is just that. And what it is with Hello World on GitHub is that this page, which if you log into GitHub, they recently changed, not recently, but it has been changed since the last time I logged in. And this is one of the things that they provide. And so it tells you what is GitHub, how to create a repository, which again is basically a place to store your code, creating a branch, which branches are what they do is basically think of it like whatever code you have, if you create a branch from this main branch, because they're all branches, it basically copies that code. And then in that sub branch, you can make your changes, you can fix your bugs, whatever. And then once you, what they call, make a push and pull request, it then gets rolled back up into the main code. And, there you go. And so that's part of version control and all that. So how to create a branch, how to make a commit, which is basically saying, hey, I've made these changes. I want to commit it to my repo. Opening a pull request, which is then going through the process of getting your code confirmed and then merging it, which is, again, rolling it back in. So this is that document. You can find it at their guides.github.com. But I'm going to walk you through these steps since I have not yet created the repo for the training that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout this series. So let me go ahead and switch screens. Hide that. Move this over here. Okay. All right. So GitHub. Logged in today. haven't logged in a while. And this looks really different. Maybe not really different, but it definitely struck me as different. It's the dark theme, which I love. I don't know if that's by default or if I changed it way back when, and it just looks different. But regardless, you are basically going to start out with creating a here we go. Oh, where? Oh, there we go. All right, so you're going to start with repo. So first of all, you can either start a project here or click new. Both of them open up the same section. So you'll see that it shows the owner. So if you have somehow multiple GitHub accounts, you can choose this. And for the repository name, I don't recall if you can change it. So I'm just going to call this Expo booth calendar. No, schedule. So it needs to be one word. It might allow for, yeah, dashes, underscores. I'm just going to keep it as Expo booth schedule. So the reason I'm doing this is because in my day job, I work for an awesome digital marketing company that allow for automation to be done for businesses through like Messenger and WhatsApp and Instagram. Anyway, so part of my current role there is I am leading the setup and preparations for our booth at the TNC 2021 Traffic and Conversion Expo. So in the process right now, I could do it manually, but I have a feeling I'm probably going to see this happen again. And this is a great opportunity to teach others about the process that I'm going through and maybe even provide code for someone to be able to use at another time. So I'm going to leave this repository name as is, description. I'm sure I can change it later. I'm going to keep it at public because I do want others to see this repo. And I'm going to add a README, which you can always add later. I'm going to add a Git Ignore. What this does is it allows you to, let's say you had files that you were working on with this code. You could add those files or even code files to your Git Ignore so it doesn't actually get integrated into the code. This is really good, especially if you are doing testing on your local machine with passwords, because you really don't want to put passwords in your code in public. Probably actually never. But we'll get into that another day. So I'm adding Git Ignore. You can choose a license about what they can and can't do. I believe the license that I normally use is the MIT license. You can learn more about it here, but I'm just going to leave it at the GNU General Public License. That way, again, anybody can use this. And I'm pretty sure I can change it. Okay. So by default, your very first branch is main. You can also always change the default name in your settings, but don't really care. So we're going to, oh, I guess we can't create a repository. What am I missing? All right, so code to take type form, Google Sheet, feedback, rank requests, and I don't know, create calendar of volunteer schedule. That's basically what I'm going to be doing. All right. It still won't let me create repository. Why? Public. Do I have to change? Maybe it's okay. Not sure what that's about, but again, you can always change it back. I wonder if I have to. It seems so strange that I have to do particular Git Ignore template. I just want none. Interesting. Okay, well, we're going to take this off so I can just keep going. I will, I'm sure, cover how to add Git Ignore later in my workshop. All right, so create repository. We're creating our repo. It's going to take a quick second. All right, so what we have here is we have the name of the repo. We have the default description that we were talking about, and we have the README. So the README is basically that. It allows people to come to this code, be able to read what's going on, and whatever other information you'd like to provide. So for me, again, I have a process that I follow with those 4 steps on how to think like a programmer. And so I'm going to actually add them in here now. I'm not going to go through, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop here with this first part, and I'm going to come at you tomorrow, probably tomorrow, with the next step, which is a couple of really easy ways to utilize GitHub with the version control and actually add in the part that I was about to share with you, which was those 4 steps. Why are we doing this? What are those plans? What do things look like? And all that. So that's where I'm going to end for today. Let me go ahead and bring this on over. Cool. So if you liked what you learned today, please let me know. Feel free to follow me. I am still working on the different digital media aspects of this basically new endeavor of teaching you programming in a way that breaks it down into easy to understand bite-sized pieces, because that's what I'm all about. I love empowering people for success. I love being able to teach people the things that I know and that I'm passionate about, whether it's digital marketing, Forex and crypto, programming, right? I truly believe that you are meant to thrive in this world, and I want to do what I can to help you get there, whether it's teaching this as a new skill set or introducing you to somebody who can help you achieve your goals. That's what I love to do. And so that's what I'm here for. So thank you so much for listening and watching this today. Again, feel free to follow me. If you go to learntocodeonline.com right now, at this moment, it points to my Facebook page, which I'm sure you'll see in a moment when you go there, it's pretty empty. But again, this is an endeavor that I am refocusing my efforts towards in order to do all that I've said in the beginning of this video. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful and prosperous rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, by the way, yeah, I said it earlier, but again, if you go to this website and send me a message, I'll let you know about my upcoming workshop to help you get familiar with Python and answer any questions you might have. So thanks again. Hope you have a wonderful and prosperous rest of your day, and I'll see you then.